Hi there, I'm Ahsan and you are watching me on YouTube and Facebook Live. Today we are going to talk about how to find inspiration in order to improve our lives. Inspiration is very important, plays a very significant role in our lives. It could be ranging from performing the daily routine task. The good thing about inspiration and the interesting thing about inspiration that we need it every day. We need a dose of inspiration to keep things flowing. If you look at the socio-economic, cultural, and political setup of our societies, then it comprises of a lot of uncertainties and conflicts, whether it's a conflict on whether it's a social media uh, pressure at the work, uh, political conflict, financial tensions, family issues, or it could be anything, or it could be something that you are feeling feeling it in your mind. But to deal with all of these things, you need inspiration to keep things flowing. And that's the question is how to get inspired, and that's what we are going to discuss today. And my guest is Edward Konowicz, and he has joined us from Virginia, United States.
Yeah,
Hey
hi
Ed,
everybody.
how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. It's been
Okay.
raining a lot, but
Uh-huh.
I managed to go out and do jogging in the
Mhm.
meantime and bicycling. So it hasn't been raining continuously, but every day for about a
On the
week.
other hand, weather here has been very hot, and I was wondering a few days ago, that how would I be able to do live on the weekend? But luckily, it rained a few hours ago. We had a rain, and the weather is good now, so we can do a live in a very uh, a suitable weather, I would say, a very good, pleasant weather.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
inspiration is based on
Mhm.
our ability to be quiet.
Mhm.
And we're all encouraged to do things and talk and listen. We're
Mhm.
not encouraged to just sit and listen. And I don't
Mhm.
mean listen to people. I mean just
Mhm.
listen around us. Take a
Mhm.
break. And it's like I used to tell my students in engineering, when
Mhm.
something breaks, what time is it? It's break time. Take a
Mhm.
break and allow new ideas to come into your mind about how it broke, how are you going to fix it. And panic or a rush to do things
Mhm.
frequently makes things worse. So
Mhm.
everyone has a damaged life. And I think a lot of people are interested in this. I'm going to ask you a question. It's aside from here. It's
Mhm.
been on Facebook social media that the Punjab
Mhm.
has decided to invalidate the SIM cards of people who did not get vaccinated. Did you hear anything about that in
No,
Pakistan?
no, no, it's not happening because I also live in Punjab, and they are not blocking the SIM card of those people who are not vaccinated. I read a post yesterday. I think Melody was doing live on this topic, and the live was finished, so I didn't commented or anything because I know that the live it was live, then I would have then definitely posted my comments and informed her about that this is not the right news. Yeah.
Yeah, a large part of our contemplation is we have to question what we're told and
Yes.
seek other sources.
Hmm.
And that's not unrelated, which is
I'm not. I'm not
I'm
vaccinated, and my phone and my SIM card is still working. A lot of my other friends, their SIM cards is also working. So it's not a credible source.
yeah. So it's important when if you're inspired, say, oh,
Hmm.
I'm talking to someone from Pakistan.
Hmm.
Let me find out if he has
Hmm.
any information on this rumor.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, people believe rumors that are on
Hmm.
their side. And
Mhm.
I think,
I, I think they don't. They want to believe something. Anyone that is relevant to their ideology, that supports their view, and they will jump on to believing it. They won't. They are not going to verify the source.
yeah, I mean, I
Mhm.
do it myself because it
Mhm.
takes a lot
Just
of
like
time to
just like you
verify
asked
a
me,
source.
just like you asked me that are they blocking the SIM card of those people who are not vaccinated? It's a good way to start.
Yeah, so we sit and what happens is like we have this little whisper that says, well, so and so could help you with this, or
Mhm,
this other person could help you with it. We get
mhm,
self-centered and we think we're the going to solve everything, but we can't.
mhm,
We
mhm,
can't solve that much. And so a large
mhm,
part of inspiration is who do we try to get to help us?
mhm.
And
I, th- I think the lot of problem with inspiration comes with different factors. The reason we don't get inspired is because of the chase in our life, that we are told that you have to be somebody in order to live a successful life. Well, it is good to some extent. You should have a better education, a better job, and all of these things matter. But it shouldn't be a chase. It shouldn't be a race. It should be something that, okay, if you don't get it, then there will be something else.
yeah,
But
I think we
it is.
have to. I
Mhm,
People like to use the word infinity or
mhm,
God, and I
mhm,
think we have to consider other possibilities can
mhm,
arise, but
mhm,
for other possibilities require us to be inspired to see them because we're creatures of
mhm,
habit. We do the
mhm,
same thing most days, and we need to break those habits. And doesn't mean start a new habit.
mhm,
It means to just sit around, think about your goals or what you want to do,
mhm,
and be open to suggestions. And I think
mhm.
I sent you the quote. I
Mm.
have the link up where most
They
great
they would love.
authors and
Mhm. They were
inventors
beautiful course.
they quote, spending a
Mhm.
certain amount of time
In
and being
silence.
quiet,
Mhm.
meditation, contemplating for their
Mhm.
solution.
I,
And
I love the example that you gave in your video, and I was watching it. That's why I chose this topic. And you gave an example of empty cup, or the only way you can pour something into it if it is empty, and if it is filled, then you won't be able to pour something into it. It was just a great example, and ordinary, a simple but direct and to the point.
yeah, so we have to turn our mind into an empty cup in order
Mm-hmm.
for something new. Because
Mm-hmm.
if our mind is full of ideas or feelings,
Mm-hmm.
it can't receive something new.
Yes,
And it's
you just have
difficult
to.
because
Yes.
we all want affirmation. We all want, oh, I've been right. And
Mm-hmm.
more important, if we receive something that says you've been wrong, that's what
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy because then I'm
Hmm.
learning.
Yes.
If I'm just being told I'm being correct, I'm not
Hmm.
learning. If I
Yes.
find out I did something wrong, I know I'm learning.
Yes.
And I think we have to listen. Now, there's two problems. Some
Mm-hmm.
people always want to see themselves as being correct or right, and
Mm-hmm.
other people want to see themselves as always being wrong
Wrong.
or or too incorrect. And
Mm-hmm.
both those extremes exist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for me it's not a question. The only question is, am I learning, and what do I have to do to facilitate that learning? And sometimes it's being quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I
I,
notice
I,
a major part of my exercise routine is getting
mm-hmm.
enough rest. Sometimes I get compulsive and do the same exercise every day, but then I'll take a day or two break, usually by accident, because I got company or something is going on. And then when I go back to the exercise, I'm even better than if I was exercising. So
Mm-hmm.
it's difficult to judge when we need to rest and
Mm-hmm.
rebuild. and when we need to do something. There's a balance, but
Mhm.
that balance is important. And part of being inspired is being open to be inspired, to
Yes.
sit back and say, well, let me see what I can perceive or hear. And it could take you a couple hours or more. It's not like,
Yes.
oh, I'm going to just
Yes.
go to a
You just.
website.
No, it doesn't work like that. You just have to do nothing. Simple, sit back, relax, and in the nature or in the garden, alone, peaceful environment, and just keep your mind open to in silence. Do nothing.
Yes, sometimes
Hmm.
taking a walk helps. It seems like
Yes.
when we're in the same position,
Hmm.
location,
Hmm.
we're stuck or fixated with the same environmental ideas. And as
Hmm.
soon as we go out, take a walk, and a lot of people like taking a vacation or
Hmm.
traveling because they can get a new perspective.
Yes.
And it's important for that new perspective to let some inspiration come in.
Hmm.
And I do that once in a while. I don't even do it enough. A
Hmm.
lot of times I go to bed and I can't fall asleep. So I have a mobile
Hmm.
device and I'll go on the internet. I'll try to learn something. I'm trying to
Hmm.
learn Spanish right now, another
And
language.
then it puts you on sleep.
Yeah, because your brain gets tired from
Yes.
studying.
Yes.
So you tell yourself to study and your
Mhm.
brain says, I don't want to study. I want to go to sleep.
Yeah, it works the same way with me. When I am writing something, I have to write an article every day. As soon as I start, I'm completely fresh. When I start working, an hour later, then my mind gets so tired that I just want to go back to sleep again. Even though I had the sleep of 6 to 7 hours, then an hour of work, then it was my mind just want me to go to sleep.
Well, my recent inspiration has been, it's not about changing myself, it's about
Mhm.
changing everything, including myself around me.
Mhm.
I, 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 I sort of feel I get too self centered and thinking, well, if I figure out the idea, I'm going to progress. And I
Mhm.
realize if I really understand the idea, things, even the weather, changes around me. And I
Mhm.
try to feel that, which is it's
Mhm.
not understanding it, it's feeling our connection to the weather, to our environment, to our home, to people, to feel a change. We get
Mhm.
I too self-centered thinking it's just me. No, I have
Yes.
to change my feelings. And I
Mhm.
remember that real
I was watching a video on YouTube about Sadhguru. Have you watched some of his videos? He is a yogi and Indian yogi, a Sadhguru. Okay, you should check it out.
okay, what could
Uh,
you spell his name or
Sadguru, Sadhguru, and
oh
you
okay.
should check it out later. And he gave a very good example that he said that you should expand your sensory experience body. The only way you don't connect with the nature if you don't that mentally you do not expand your sensory experiences. When you expand it, then you start feeling about the nature. Put yourself in the shoes of the other person, and then you would feel.
Well, I think there's one
Yes.
step more. We need a
Mhm.
comparison. We live
Yes.
in a layer of reality, and we
Mhm.
tend to expand that layer. But we
Mhm.
have to begin to conceive, imagine, perceive different layers. We get stuck on a layer, and it's a
Mhm.
feeling.
Mhm.
It's like when I was a little kid, I wasn't so much interested in ideas. I was
Mhm.
interested in playing, which was going outside, running into my friends, and maybe playing some baseball or football.
Mhm.
And there was a knack of trying to facilitate that, which
Mhm.
was a feeling, and to
Mhm.
chase that feeling. And today, I too much as an adult feel it's the correct idea. I have to come to the correct idea. And
Mhm.
sometimes I think we have to come to the correct feeling which is understanding we're stuck in a layer of reality and we got to unstick ourselves.
Yes.
And that unsticking really is contemplation. We get fixated on a view of reality and we don't see the wonder, we don't see the miracle that can happen of change. And I think we have to perceive some type of change before it happens. I think we stop change by just doing the same thing.
Yes.
I don't think we need to do another thing. We need to re-perceive reality and say, look, I'm doing the same thing, I'm having the same feeling. It's time to try something different. And it's
Yes.
not, and I think that requires a lot of silence.
Yeah.
A lot of
Break the monotony. Break the monotony of that routine life. Only then you would be able to do something different.
And I from that links I sent you, I don't want to post the links because on that page there apparently is some questionable links that may infect your computer.
Okay.
But all great people talk about inspiration, particularly as a musician. You begin hearing a melody. It could be listening to birds. You could be listening to someone else's music, and then you begin to hear something new. And now you go in and you try to become a channel for that artistic expression. And change has to occur. We see that what governs the
Music is a
world is,
great music is a great source.
yeah, music is a great source and means for meditation or inspiration. And it's almost pure inspiration sometimes,
Yes.
particularly the classical ones. Yeah, hi, Amanda. The classical music, particularly for me, and folk
Hey,
music used
Amanda.
to get me in a good mood.
Mhm.
And playing music gets me in a good mood.
Mhm.
But it's being able to bring that mood to reality. I mean, I'm
You
going to
just
listen
have,
to Debussy's.
you just have to just stay quiet and new ideas just come in. Just
Right.
start
And
coming.
can we carry the mood of our
Mhm.
inspiration to
Mhm.
reality? And
Mhm.
sometimes we can find someone. I mean, someone posted, I forget who
Mhm.
it was,
Mhm.
that a major rapport they have with someone else is if they like the same music.
Mhm.
And hi, Zuck, and of course,
Yes.
Amanda. So,
Mhm.
music is probably the most practical source of inspiration. Though I think some poets are good,
Mhm.
but you really have to think on it. Music, you don't have to think. You sit back and it sort of takes you
Uh,
there.
yes.
The poetry you have to read and
You have
understand
to. Mhm.
for it to get
You
you
have to.
there.
Yes.
And
It
of
takes
course, the
time
paintings you usually have to go to a museum to
and look.
appreciate.
Yes.
But yeah, you go to
And
a museum, particularly with paintings, it seems
mhm.
haunted.
Mhm.
And you try to feel other consciousness.
Mhm.
And I think that's important.
Look at.
How would this person that let's take example. How would William Blake, the poet,
Mhm.
approach this? Or what would he feel? And
Mhm.
I think when we try to be other people a little bit, we
Mhm.
can break the
When we start.
monotony
Mhm.
of our own thinking.
Mhm.
And other people help. Not
Yes.
necessarily our friends. Of course, our
Mhm.
friends will get us fixated in our same way. But I
Mhm.
think that's what art and music and literature is about. We can enter the door of someone else's perception and get
The
an idea. I felt as a kid, I really felt this, that my
art
neighborhood and
art
my
has a
thinking
very mhm.
was
art has a
connected.
very mhm. art has a very a major role in our lives. We don't really appreciate art, but art has a major role. I love art, especially all the work, country work, painting, music, uh, just silence, and it's the connection with. It allows you to connect with. with with the higher consciousness. Consciousness is a good word.
Well, as a kid, I could
Mhm,
feel with my friends. I don't know
mhm,
if they felt like it, but I
mhm,
felt like it with them. I could
mhm,
feel a thunderstorm coming, and
mhm,
it relieved some tension. I could tell that
mhm,
our being, our consciousness, was somehow related to the thunderstorm. The thunderstorm was not irrelevant, it wasn't accidental, it was a result of something that was going on. And it's hard to believe weather could be political, but I think it is. Now, not totally political, of course, just like people can be controlled, a lot of weather can be controlled. So politics can be manipulated and weather can be manipulated, but people can be inspired and weather can
mhm,
be inspired. And
mhm.
we
And
don't see,
I think the most interesting thing about getting inspired is keeping your mind open about the idea of inspiration. This is the only way that the inspiration, the external from the external source would get in, or from your internal source internally, it would arise. If you keep your mind open, if you stuck at one thing, then you're not open to ideas. That it's not gonna work. If you have fixated your mind on this point that nothing's gonna change, or I'm not gonna get inspired, then you won't get inspired. Our mind has a unique way of working. If you fix your mind to something that if it works, then it will work. If you fix your mind that it won't work, then it won't work. So you
well,
have to keep your mind.
the
Yes,
mind makes a big difference. As
yes,
I always tell people, believe in your
mhm,
guesses, but
mhm,
don't turn your guesses into beliefs. I
yes,
mean, we guess about the nature of reality,
mhm,
and we act upon that. We should
mhm,
believe in our guess,
mhm,
but it
mhm,
doesn't make our guess true because we believe in it. It just
mhm,
means that we put enough focus and enough understanding into our guess and confidence to
mhm,
take us to the next stage.
mhm,
And I think we have to consider that the
mhm,
universe is much more amazing than we realize. We've
mhm,
been pounded down into a
mhm,
materialistic point of view, and I think people felt this. I went to the National Gallery of Art in Washington D.C., and
mhm,
some artist did this really wonderful sculpture of turning people into stone. I mean, isn't that what artists did? They took
mhm,
marble
mhm,
or they took limestone and they carved a statue out of it. But
mhm.
the
Yes.
Romans, like Medusa, were really trying to turn you into stone. They were
Mm,
trying to put a frame on you, make you into a statue of limitations.
mhm,
And how were you going to not be turned into a stone? Because I think that's what culture does, which is how do we imagine better
mhm,
things? And it's
mhm,
hard because our culture doesn't support it. I mean, people
mhm,
are supposed to imagine sex, they're supposed to imagine wealth, they're supposed
mhm,
to imagine being athletic, they're supposed to imagine having a good job. But
mhm.
how about imagine uh, a
Uh,
more fluid reality where
mhm,
your intuition and inspiration allows you to be happier and allows you to be more effective? We're not taught to imagine inspiration.
mhm,
We're taught to imagine goals. And some of our goals may not be good.
mhm,
So if we focus totally on our goals,
mhm.
we
Goals are
may
just like a
miss.
chase. Goals are like a chase. You start running after them, yeah, and you spend your whole life chasing them, and the chase is not over. If you want a target of 1 million, when you achieve 1 million, it will be 10 million. After 10 million, it will be billion. And the chase is not the solution. Living is in the moment, and keeping your mind open about the idea of inspiration. I think that is the solution. Well, that could be solution.
Yeah, and I think on our way, we
Mhm,
have goals we have to do. I mean, to
mhm,
function in society, we
mhm.
have certain
Goals.
objectives or
Mhm,
outcomes we have to achieve.
mhm.
But why we do that, we need to be open to other paths. It's sort of like as a little
Yes,
kid.
yes.
I didn't have to have an exercise program.
Mhm,
We
mhm,
played tagged, we played hide and go seek. We went to the playgrounds, we climbed
mhm,
on the monkey bars. We naturally played where we got our exercise. We didn't have
mhm,
to have, quote,
mhm,
a formal exercise because
mhm,
it naturally arose. And I
mhm,
think a lot of things naturally arise. We just have to be quiet enough to hear the difference. But it's
mhm,
hard because we're in society and are influenced by other people, and we all
mhm,
get fixated. So we need a
mhm,
ton, a
mhm,
large amount of inspiration to
mhm,
break our fixation. And it has to come outside of ourselves
mhm,
because we are not in a different reality. We have
mhm,
to conceive really a different reality.
mhm,
And it emerges at times. I think it
mhm,
emerges during holidays and festivals. People
mhm,
see relatives, they have tried new food or drink
mhm,
or see another place, and they
mhm.
have different feelings. And feelings may ultimately be more creative than we realize.
Hey,
So
Melissa.
having the correct feelings may be
Mhm,
more important
mhm.
than having the correct ideas.
Yes.
And inspiration can help us to have better feelings, negative or
Mhm.
positive. I'm not
Yeah.
one into all positive feelings. Sometimes we
Yeah.
need some important negative feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hi,
It depends
Melissa.
on the mood. It
Yeah.
depends on the mood. If you are in the good mood, then you'll have positive feeling. If something is going on, then you'll have the negative feelings. But the silence and expanding your sensory experience and connecting with the higher self, with the consciousness, and with the nature, it allows you uh, to 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 create a space, so new things and new ideas would come in, and that's where one of those new ideas would be the solution to your to the source or to whatever you want, the solution.
Yeah, we have to try a lot of alternatives.
Hmm.
And one of the things I have a big foot. I'm a big guy. I'm
Hmm.
6 foot one and a quarter.
Okay.
And
um
it's
I'm
hard
five
to
away.
find shoes that fit. And the reason
Hmm.
is my feet are widest at the toes, and
Hmm.
most shoe designers try to design the shoes to be pointed where they're more narrow at the toes.
Hmm.
And I've, I have to buy, and it's not uncommon, I
Hmm.
have to buy about 5 or 6 pairs of shoes before I find one that's comfortable. And
Hmm.
lately I got lucky. Lately I got 2 pairs of shoes that
Hmm.
actually are comfortable.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure what that comes from. I mean, part of it is knowledge, looking for the wider
Hmm.
part at the toes. And part of it is just trying alternatives and not giving up.
Hmm.
And then once you reach that stage of harmony,
Hmm.
comfortable shoe means running and
Hmm.
walking a lot more
Hmm.
easier.
Hmm.
And it's strange. Those little things are important. We
Hmm.
think about, where we're going to invest our money or where we're
Hmm.
going to go out to eat.
Hmm.
But your shoes are important. Also,
Yeah.
comfortable
Hmm.
clothes are
If you
important.
Yeah, if you're not feeling comfortable, if you're not wearing comfortable clothes or wearing comfortable shoes, then you are not comfortable physically. Then when your physical body is not in a peaceful state, then it won't give you a peace of mind. Uh, to achieve the peace of mind and peace of soul is to have a comfortable environment, and your physical body should be in the state of comfortable position or comfortable state.
And it's that mundane.
Mhm,
There's a lot of variations in the
mhm,
world.
Yes.
And we have to be persistent in trying to find what harmonizes with us or fits.
Mhm.
And part of that is inspiration. You see an
Mhm.
advertisement, or you go online, or
Mhm.
you see a shoe that looks good. And what's
Mhm.
strange, and I was really surprised at this last shoes that I got, which are extremely comfortable. In fact, I'm
Mhm.
more comfortable in the shoe than walking barefoot. Usually, I'm very
Mhm.
comfortable walking barefoot. But
Mhm.
I took the shoes out of the box and they just felt correct. Even before I untied them or tried
Mhm.
them on, you get this feeling these are
Mhm.
the correct shoes. I don't know how you
Mhm.
get the feeling.
Mhm.
And
You just
of course,
connected
this
with it.
is it's a mundane argument, but it's
Mhm.
about everything. It's connecting with the right people.
Uh,
It's finding the right sentence. I mean, you write,
mhm.
but it's
Yeah.
really important to summarize and have a good sentence that
Mhm.
carries your ideas. And we
Yes.
have to wait until that good
Mhm.
sentence arises. Like a lot of
Yeah.
days, I don't do a live because I don't have
Mhm.
any ideas
Mhm.
arising. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's a person, like the last live
Mhm.
I did was influenced by someone questioning me, okay, what is a front? Not questioning, but using my term front, which is the claims of people or the
Mhm.
claims of a nation. What is it, and how do you conceive of it so
Mhm.
that you can live in the world without being fooled by some people's fronts and
Mhm.
finding people who are real and can add to you? Because what is really the advantage of a good friend? They make good
Mhm.
suggestions to you. They say,
Yes.
try
Mhm.
this exercise, try this food, try this restaurant,
Mhm. Mhm.
try this store. And you go,
Hey,
yeah,
Paul. Mhm.
yeah, I agree,
Yeah.
Paul. Shoe
Mhm.
designers seem to be trying to damage our feet. There's no
Yes.
reason I have to go through 6 pairs of shoes to
Mhm.
find one that
Mhm.
feels normal, because I
Yes.
did it all my life. And
Yes.
usually it was the first pair I tried worked. It does
Mhm.
seem to be the design of shoes to make the front pointed
Mhm.
is wrong.
Speaking of comfortable and in a stateful, and we should also avoid those people who are having a negative influence on your mind, and they are just doing negative. I had some of my friends, and I tried to get rid of them, and I did it successfully. And they were every time I go out with them, go out for a walk, and accompany them, I used to feel after the company that. What was I doing? And hours after our work, I kept on thinking uh, about the thing they said, about the argument, about the disagreement. Well, like I prefer the disagreement if it's intellectual. If it is personal disagreement, that everything you say is wrong, or the other person is say the same thing the other person is say would say, then it would be right. That sort of negativity and the negative influence, and we should also inspire, is the major block towards the road towards inspiration.
Yeah, well, I think
Mhm.
what it sort of is, we have to be
Mhm.
inspired to
Yes.
keep trying and find
Mhm.
something comfortable. It could be
Mhm.
shoes, it could be a
Mhm.
friend, could be a
Mhm.
bunch of friends, it could
Mhm.
be a social media group.
Mhm.
We find something that's comfortable. And as we
Mhm.
reduce the pain, uh,
Mhm.
new things arise, which
Yes.
is pain, whether they're in your shoes,
Yes.
whether they're in your collar, because some collars
Mhm.
are a pain.
Yes.
And um, when you reach that level of comfort, new
Mhm.
ideas and feelings emerge. And it
Yes.
seems like what tyranny is it tries to give you a lot of pain, whether in your shoes, whether
Mhm.
in your food, with toxins, whether in your ear, whether in drugs or
Mhm.
vaccines. Tyranny tries to keep you in pain so you don't rise to a higher inspiration. And it seems like pain grounds us and keeps us down where our imagination is impeded.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
imagination isn't just ours, It's being inspired by our ancestors, people who lived before us. When I read a book or play music, whether it's
Mhm,
Beethoven or Rachmaninoff, I feel
mhm,
their presence. Their
mhm,
music conveys their presence, and I learn from their presence.
mhm.
But we have to be open to that learning of a different view, and then things come together that work. And some things work pretty well as they come together. So that's inspiration. Inspiration allows us more choices that we didn't conceive, and we have to go exploring. The
Yes.
inspiration causes us to explore, and we have to save some time to
Mm.
keep our minds open
So
for
what
new
are your
ideas.
final what are your final thoughts?
Well, it's hard to describe being quiet. It
Mhm,
isn't just being quiet. You
mhm,
have to have a a goal, not a rigid goal.
mhm,
Have a goal of feeling what you want to do, and be
mhm,
quiet about it and listen. And it,
yeah,
it takes could take days
mhm,
for you to get inspiration. But
mhm,
there's two things required. One, keep your mind empty,
mhm,
listen. And number two, have some type of goal. Don't be rigid about the outcome. Have something
mhm,
you want to do. Be
mhm,
open to the change of the goal, but keep the focus while you're doing nothing. And
yes,
nothing is recharging. So words you use are important. And my
mhm,
final sentence is,
mhm,
don't say you're doing nothing. Don't say
mhm,
you're resting or you're
mhm,
recovering. Say you're
mhm,
recharging.
yes,
You're
beautiful.
actually conserving your energy so you can have new ideas and new outcomes.
Mm. You are doing nothing. You are just getting energy. You're creating a space for the new ideas to come in.
Right.
And it's a wonderful way to conclude our session. And thank you guys. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Amanda. And thank you, Zach, for joining us for your comments. And thanks for sharing it out. And I'll see you next week. And if you have any questions, just leave it in the comment box below. I'll answer to you. I'll get back to you as soon as you can. And thank you. Have a good day, good night, good afternoon, wherever you are.
Okay. Bye, everybody.